It always happens the same way. You sit down, you exhale, and before you have said a single word, a paw lands on your hand, softly, not like an accident, not like a random movement, like it was placed there on purpose. Because it was. Most people see this and think, he wants something, a walk, a snack, a belly rub, a little attention, and sometimes, yes, that is exactly what it is. Dogs are smart. They learn quickly. If one small paw on your wrist makes you look down, smile, talk in that softer voice, or reach over and touch them back, your dog remembers. Behavioral scientists have a word for this: manding. It means your dog has learned to ask for something through behavior. A paw becomes a button. They press it, and you respond. But if that were the whole story, this moment would not feel the way it feels. Because sometimes your dog does it when there is no food nearby, no leash in your hand, no toy on the floor. Sometimes they do it when you are sitting quietly, staring at nothing, when your shoulders are heavy, when the room feels too loud, even though nobody is speaking. And then that paw lands on you, and something in your body changes. You soften. You come back to the room. For 1 second, you feel seen by a creature that does not speak your language, but somehow understands the weather inside you. That is the part people miss. Your dog is not always asking. Sometimes your dog is answering. There are at least 3 things happening when your dog places a paw on you, and they can all happen at the same time. The first is learned communication. Your dog has discovered that touch opens a door between you. A paw gets your eyes, your voice, your hand, your presence. So the behavior repeats. The second goes much deeper. When puppies are tiny, they use their paws against their mother's body to knead, to press, to find milk, warmth, safety. That early movement is tied to comfort before the puppy even understands the world. So later in life, when your dog places a paw on you, part of that old pattern may still be there. A body memory, a small echo of safety. But the third layer is the one that changes everything. Dogs use their bodies to calm tension. Canine behavior experts have described paw lifting as one of the subtle signals dogs use to say, I am not a threat. So when a paw comes low, soft, and still, it may not be a demand at all. It may be a whisper. I am here. I am with you. You are not alone. And once you understand that, the paw stops looking like a trick. It starts looking like a sentence. Because dogs are always speaking. They just do it without words. Their ears move before they decide. Their eyes track your face. Their body turns toward you or away from you. Their breathing changes when the room changes. And your dog has been studying you longer than you realize. They know the sound of your normal footsteps. They know the version of your voice when you are happy and the version you use when you are trying to sound fine. They know when you come home full of energy, and they know when you come home carrying something invisible. This is where the science gets harder to ignore. In one study from Goldsmiths University of London, researchers placed dogs in a room with 2 people, their owner and a stranger. One person cried. The other hummed or talked normally. Most people would expect the dog to run to the owner, their safe person, their familiar person, but that is not what happened. The dogs tended to approach whoever was crying, even if that person was a stranger, and they did not approach with excitement. They came gently, submissively, soft body, low energy, ready for contact. They nuzzled. They licked. They leaned in. They acted like the pain in the room belonged to them too. That detail matters because it suggests something deeper than training. The dog was not simply looking for comfort from the person they knew best. The dog was moving toward distress, not because someone gave a command, not because there was a reward, but because another living being was hurting. And this changes the meaning of the paw on your hand. Maybe your dog is not interrupting you. Maybe your dog is checking on you. Maybe that paw is the smallest version of walking towards someone who is crying. Then, years later, another study pushed the question even further. Researchers separated dogs from their owners with a clear door that could be opened. Some owners cried and called for help. Others hummed a simple song. The dogs who heard crying opened the door much faster. But the most heartbreaking part was not the dogs who opened it. It was the dogs who did not. Those dogs showed intense stress, pacing, whining, panting. Their bodies were activated. Their hearts were working hard. They were not cold. They were overwhelmed. And if you have ever wondered why your dog sometimes freezes when you are upset, maybe this is why. Not every dog knows what to do with human sadness. Some move toward it. Some shut down under it. But both may be feeling it. So when your dog places a paw on you during a quiet, heavy moment, it may not be trying to solve your pain. It may simply be saying, I feel something changed, and I am still here. And this is where the paw becomes more than behavior. It becomes biology. Because touch is not just something your body feels on the surface. Touch goes deep. It changes the nervous system before the mind has time to explain it. Scientists who study gentle touch have identified special nerve fibers called C-tactile afferents. They respond best to slow, soft, warm contact, not a quick poke, not a rough grab, but the kind of contact that lingers, the kind of touch that says, stay. These nerves send information to parts of the brain connected to emotion, not just location, not just pressure, emotion. That means when your dog places a paw on your arm and leaves it there, your body may receive it as more than a paw. It may receive it as a safety signal, a quiet message moving through skin before it ever becomes a thought. You are not in danger. You can lower your guard. You can breathe now. And the strange part is, this does not only happen to you. Your dog is inside the moment too. Their body is also reading the contact, their breathing, their heart rate, their sense of closeness, their sense of whether you are still connected to them. This is why dogs often do not just tap and leave. They hold the paw there. They wait. They watch your face. They feel whether you come back to them. Not because they understand your problems, but because they understand your state. That is a very different kind of intelligence. Humans often think intelligence means solving puzzles, learning words, obeying commands, or knowing tricks. But dogs carry another kind of intelligence, a nervous system intelligence. They know when the room is safe. They know when tension enters your shoulders. They know when your voice gets too flat. They know when you are physically present, but emotionally far away. And sometimes, a paw is how they pull you back. Then, there is the chemical layer. Studies on human-dog bonding have shown that gentle contact and mutual attention can be linked with oxytocin, the hormone involved in trust, bonding, and attachment. The same kind of system that helps parents and children feel close can also light up between dogs and humans. That is not a small thing, because wolves, even when raised around humans, do not show the same pattern in the same way. Dogs are different. Thousands of years beside us changed them. Not just their bodies, not just their faces, their social nervous systems. They became animals that look to humans for safety. And somehow, they became animals that give safety back. So that paw is not only cute, it is ancient. It is a small piece of a very long story. A story where two species learned to survive better by staying close, by reading each other, by touching gently in the dark and saying without words, I am still here, and you are still mine. And maybe that is why the smallest moments stay with us the longest. Not the loud ones, not the running, barking, door-crashing greetings, but the quiet ones. The paw on your hand when you were trying not to cry. The paw on your knee after a long day. The paw that arrived before anyone else noticed something was wrong. There was a man who once told a story about his wife and their dog. His wife had become seriously ill, and as her body grew weaker, their dog began changing his routines without being asked. When she slept in the bedroom, he slept at the foot of the bed. When she was moved to a hospital bed in the living room, he moved there too. There was barely enough space for him, but he stayed anyway, night after night, at her feet, as if his body had made a promise his mouth could never speak. Near the end, when she was taken to hospice, the man brought the dog to visit her. The dog climbed onto the bed, slowly, carefully, and placed both paws on her hand. That was all. No barking, no performance, no dramatic scene. just two paws resting on a hand that could no longer reach back the way it used to. People can argue about what dogs know. They can argue about instinct, scent, routine, grief, and attachment. And science should be careful with what it claims. But sometimes, a moment does not need to be exaggerated to be sacred. Sometimes, the truth is simple enough. A dog loved someone, and when there was nothing left to fix, he touched her. That is what makes the paw so powerful. It does not promise to solve anything. It does not explain your pain. It does not ask you to become cheerful again. It just says, I am here in this with you. And maybe that is why it reaches places words cannot reach. So if you are thinking now about the times your dog put a paw on you and you barely noticed, the times you moved it away, the times you were busy, tired, distracted, looking at your phone, please hear this. Your dog was not keeping score. Love like that is not a test. It is a return. Again and again, your dog comes back to the same simple language. A look, a lean, a paw, a quiet wait that says, I found you. So the next time it happens, do not rush past it. Do not immediately ask what they want. Let the paw stay for a moment. Let your hand stay under it. Let two nervous systems remember what they were built to do. Rest, trust, belong. And if your dog has ever placed a paw on you at the exact moment you needed it most, tell that story in the comments. Not just what happened. Tell us what you felt. Because somewhere, someone else will read it and remember their dog too.